Hi, and welcome to Living and Loving Each Day, Bridging Barriers. My name is Sue Jansen, and I'm just so excited that you joined us today. And my podcast generally focuses on inspiring people, and I also like to focus on supporting parents, caregivers, and adults with adaptive needs. That's kind of because that's in my family. That's something that I have a passion for as well. And I aim to help people and adults bridge barriers, whatever those barriers are in their life. And I'm excited right today to introduce my guest. And my guest is Kelvin Green. And Kelvin brings over 20 years of IT cybersecurity expertise I can't even talk now, encompassing diverse roles, including a game tester for Tetris. I remember that game Tetris. I haven't played that for a while though. So, also as a passionate mental health advocate, Kelvin draws from his personal experiences and deep understanding of user and entity behavioral entity. Is that correct? Analytics.
Analytics, yep.
There we go. I'll fit. My mouth will work soon. I'm a singer, so I should have this figured out here. Just to bridge the gap between technology and human behavior. His mission is to empower individuals to better understand themselves, to foster joy, and to enhance security in an increasingly complex digital landscape. And for those of you who know me, I just completed a chat GPT for seniors course, and this is huge, and it's something that we need to talk about more. So Bruce, for over 35 years, has been a yeah. So that's perfect. That's the end of my intro to you, Kelvin. Thank you so much for being here, and it's an honor. So tell us a little bit more about you and where are you sitting, because I love talking to people all over the world. So are you in the States somewhere?
Yep. So I am actually, so first, thank you for having me. I am located in the Washington, D.C. area. So I'm a native of here. I've lived all around the United States. I lived in Hawaii. I lived in Las Vegas, Atlanta. I lived in different places, but this is home. So that's where I'm at right now.
That's awesome. So thank you for being here today. So tell us now, what's your main thing that you're doing right now? Like the thing that you're excited about doing right now?
Yep. So I'm excited about helping people to be more secure. So what I do is I went through life and I said, you experience a lot of things and life changes. And one of the things was for me was I was working in IT and then I moved into cybersecurity. And the reason why basically is because, as life kept going on, different experiences happen. So what happens when you lose access to some of your data or when you get hacked or when you get that email that says your social security has been compromised? You're like, oh, what do I do? And so I started to, like get those questions from people. And I say, well, let me explain, the world didn't end. Right? It's like the rest of life. It's like the world didn't end. I get it. And there's nothing you can do to undo it, but you're still here, right? And so it's just to get people to understand that it's not really the end of the world and it's really still what you make of it. So
Yeah.
I help organizations to, navigate those things to one, be more secure so they don't happen. And then when they do happen, here's what you do. Don't die. And yeah.
I know it's scary out there, and it's amazing because I just completed a course, like I was saying, and I called it ChatGPT for seniors because I wanted it to say like this is not a major, because you say ChatGPT or AI to some seniors, and like their eyes just light up. They don't even want to know about it, and they just scares them. They don't want to talk about it. I said, like, let's make this a friend. I mean, we can make this so that we understand it. So I get where you're coming from, and the security is huge because there's so many different kinds of cyber. One of the ladies in my course, all her ID was, apparently she talked about, given to the deep web, and she had lost like all her ID and her bank accounts, passwords, everything was gone. And so she's really taken her a few months to kind of get back to feeling, a little more secure. So are those some of the things that you deal with, or what's your biggest issue that you deal with?
Well, first, let me applaud you for the course. So that's a good
Yeah,
move.
yeah.
So the adoption of technology, people are scared to adopt it. I'm like, well, you did adopt that microwave, right? And they're like, yeah. And you did adopt the typewriter. And when that computer came, you did adopt that, right? Like, so what's different?
And the remote
And so
control, and the remote control, and
and there
like, I
you
mean,
go.
and GPS on your phone too, and on your car too. Yeah.
That's really just sending information through the air. That's crazy, right? So I mean, it's It's people gotta adapt to those things, and as we get to, and when you point out to the chat GPT, I wanted to tell you when you took that class, did you know that you helped train Chat GPT? Everything you said to it, everything you agreed, everything you nodded your head and said yes. Oh, no, you trained it. So when you look at those technologies, just remember they're just a lot of information that was collected from other people, whatever other people who was in the information sources, and it's just giving you back what they thought. So thank you and cheers.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, everything we all change, progress, and learn, and we can adapt and learn and use it to our advantage. That's what I like about it. You know,
Yes, and it's also scary because I'm about to make sure it's scary to you now.
yeah.
When you did training, what if I told you right now you cannot guarantee that you're talking to Kelvin Green? It's
Oh,
crazy. You know, I actually partnered with a company that works on detecting when people edit videos to make fake people when you're talking to them. You don't know me prior to podcasting, so how do you know it's really me? What could you do right now to authenticate that this is Kelvin Green?
good question. I want to know. I want to know.
Absolutely nothing. See, here's why. Because unless I gave you previous information about who I was, you couldn't validate it because whatever I told you is what would comprise the information of who I am, my character. And if I gave this information to ChatGPT, let's just say it was a Google device or Amazon device in my house listening to me, how would you distinguish between the two? You don't know. I'm moving around right now just to confuse the people looking to say, hey, is that really a person?
Are
Is
you an
that how he
avatar?
acts?
Are you an avatar?
There you go. So what I tell people is you gotta embrace it. Don't be scared. It's here. What you can do is the same thing you would do with the rest of your life, and this is what's going to help the ray of hope. Um, Trust but verify. Couldn't you ask me something on another channel? Meaning, give me a call, text, you know me, validate me. Why do you gotta trust everything you see online nowadays, right? And so I tell people what you gotta do is do the same things you would do in the past. You would talk to a friend, you would talk to a parent, somebody you trust and say, hey, is that really that person? Is that how they act? Is that how they behave? Is those things they would normally say? I mean, if your CEO emailed you and said, hey, I need you to go buy some gift cards so I can give to people, just go buy them and send them to me and expense them. Since when did the CEO of the company been talking to me? Like, what? Why all of a sudden you of all the people?
So true. Yeah.
Well,
That
so
happened to me.
when things
Yeah.
bingo, so when things are out of whack, just check those things. That's advice.
You just have to be careful, right?
Yeah.
So, and I was reading about you, about your whys, way I see everything. So tell me, what is that?
So, right now we're looking at each other. You can't see the back of my head, but if you were standing in line, you can see the back of my head, right? And I can't. So the way I see everything is always from my eyes. I've always seen the whole world from these eyes. And whatever I believed that the world was, give you a good one. Have you ever been to see like a big landmark like the pyramids or Eiffel Tower or something like that? And if you look at TV, it's so glorious. Like you're like, oh, it's so wonderful. It's gonna be so nice. I went to the pyramids. As a matter of fact, now picture of me standing out in the desert by the pyramids.
Yeah.
But if you could pull that camera angle, you would see a long line of people running in a racing between the pyramids. So when you're out there, you think you're going to be on this mystic journey to see the pyramids, and it's going to be so quiet. You're just like in the desert. But then there's really a long line of people running down. And I'm not hot. I'm cold. I'm really standing there talking about it like, man, it's cold. I hope they hurt me finish these pictures. But you can't see that. So what it is, the way I see everything is that people gotta understand that what they think the world is really just all the information that they brought in from where they grew up at. I mean, I think of the world. I lived with a Japanese family when I was in Hawaii who was Buddhist. And, being born in DC and upbringing of Christian, live in a different world when you get somebody else's customs and their way of living.
Yeah.
And so you got to adapt to that. And so you're going to say, let me see the way you see things. Oh, crap. You don't see it like me. Why? They had a different perspective. And so I started to say, hey, I'm communicating with the world by the way I see things. But I want to know how you see things too. And then we take those two things together and we say, sky blue, sky blue. And that's how we agree on things and go through the world.
Right. So is that the whys then? That's your
Yeah.
talk title. That's when you're talking. So what's your premise, your objective when you make those talks?
So it's to communicate three things: your perception, the way you perceive things, and your perspective. And I'll break those down. The
Okay.
way you perception, what I see, hear, smell, touch, feel. You fire. You don't put your hand in fire for a reason. Why? Because at some point in time, you put your hand next to a fire. You was 5 years old, doesn't matter. And it was hot. So even if you go near a box later on in life and you put your arm on, you get that ooh burning sensation. You think that it's fire, hot. You remember, get away. It wasn't really a fire or anything, but you got that same sensation. It's all because of your perception and then the way you perceived how that fire felt. And you remember that because you go through life and you do things a million times. Like if you saw a rat right now or a mouse run across, would you get up and run? Would you pick it up? Would you step on it? Ooh, scary. Would
Yeah.
you try to catch it? What would you do? Well, those things are all based on how you perceive things. And then you get all those things you perceive to get your perspective. Is Kelvin going to run from the mouse or not? If you spent time with Kelvin, you would know whether I was going to run. I'm not going to tell you. But if you did, you would know. And that's just really what I want people to understand how they form those things. So when they want to change, their perspective. They got to understand that they can't change the perception. You can't change the perspective. But how you change it is to change how you perceive things. Meaning, if I say that the mouse is bad or it's icky or scary, I'm always going to perceive it that way. That's going to be my perspective. But if I say there's an animal that's trying to live, meaning that rat didn't tell you to build that house here. It
Yeah.
didn't tell you to have food it likes. And it wants to survive just like you. So if you understand its perspective, maybe you can get along. Same thing for human beings. So that's what I try to help people to understand, how to understand themselves and how to get along with others.
Cool. Okay. And so, and what do you offer? Are coaching, or you wrote a book about this, or what do you use to share this?
So what I offer is really just cybersecurity advice. So here's the thing, like they say, how much time do you have in life, right? And I got a whole explanation there where I break it down and say that you look at cake. I say if you got 16 pieces of cake, that means 5 years per cake, 80 years of life. And I say if I'm 45 now, I've eaten 9 of my 16 cakes. I got 7 left, and I gotta assume that the last 4 is just for me just to sit back and say, man, I did it. In my cake, right?
Not
I mean, I'm gonna
true.
do things, but in general, it's the victory lap. Well, with my remaining cake, 'cause that's all I can operate with, is I say find all the joy that I got from the first 9 pieces of cake and use that to figure out what joy you want to experience for the next cake, so that when you get to those last cakes, you sit back like, I did good.
Just enjoy. That's exactly right. That's good advice.
So
So,
I don't really have anything in terms of outside of cybersecurity. So what I do, I'm going to give out information to help people to be more secure. Meaning, here's some tips, and I'll actually give you that as a free download to
okay.
your viewers. Where I'm going to say, here's some things you can do so to level the playing field. Meaning, don't worry. I know you got that one password that you use for 10 things that you shouldn't be using for 10 things. Don't worry. Pretty much everybody does. It's okay. All you can do really is do your best. So I'll give you some tips that you can use to improve those things. Not be perfect. Never plan to be perfect. Be safe forever, but do your best, and just give some tips of how you can do that.
And just to how to be safe, because that's,
How,
I,
just how
yeah,
how to be safe in the cybersecurity world. So it's just really just, hey, here's some things you can do to be safe in cybersecurity.
exactly. The women I was talking to on my course, they primarily were just complaining about even calls, like, the cold calls that they're getting, and they're saying, I actually had way back. This is when all this kind of started about 4 years ago, around, I say BC, before COVID, where they did Revenue Canada, where I'm up in Canada, and they'd say, "Oh, we're coming to your door. You owe us money, and the police will be at your door in 10 minutes." And like people were phoning me, like freaking out, saying, "Oh my God, they're coming." I said, "No, they're not. Number one, the government does not send drivers or police to your door ever." And so I had to reassure a lot of people during those times, and it's come a long way since then. But now it's like just myself, I get like 10 either texts or calls a day saying, okay, they're not scams, but they're no, that's probably a different thing where they want to help me build my digital, my my YouTube channel or something. So, but I mean, there are things, anything you can give, like 3 basic tips that people could use like right away that they might not know before we jump
Absolutely.
off?
So I will say, first, anything that's too good to be true
Not
probably is.
right. That I won $1 million.
Bingo. Uh, Two, um, look for things to be out of band. Usually, when there's something by hacking or something, it'll be out of band. Meaning, the bank will say, "Give me your password." What? Why are you emailing me, asking me for my information? That's unusual. Another one would be if somebody asks you for something that you don't know. What I mean by that is that why all of a sudden are strangers talking to you? I mean, just think about it. Everybody got their lives. And I just said, for some reason today, I feel like talking to you. Why? If it's not something you solicited, it's not something that you know you've been looking for, so you find it useful. If it's not in that category, probably not a good thing.
How do you get rid of these people though? If they hang up?
Um, if I had that answer, Susan, boy, my phone life would be a lot more wonderful. So,
I was going to say, I was just thinking we could do a course together.
I got no answers for you. I get a lot of calls myself. There's services because
Yeah,
they can change numbers, they can change where they are. I mean, in this global world we're in today, they can come from anywhere at any time. So,
so true.
I'm gonna say,
So it's just like, don't believe everything you hear and just be a little more cognitive, a little more careful about things that don't seem right, and just hang up and ignore, and don't get too afraid. Don't get afraid.
perfectly, yes, yes,
Oh, Kelvin, thank you so much for this. And I'm going to for sure put your link, because you said that you had, did you say you had something for my listeners? Did you say
absolutely. So I'll send it all over to you. Yep,
Perfect. So, everybody, thank you so much for joining us here today. I always have wonderful guests that inspire me, and I'm so glad that Kelvin was with me today. And go to suejansen.ca in Canada if you want to connect or subscribe. But I will be putting Kelvin's information and also his free gift in the show notes. So please watch for that. And reach out to us. We're here. we're real. We're here. I've seen I've made myself an avatar. That's crazy. I've done that actually, so I know what that's all about. It's kind of cool. But hey, they do really good promo pictures of you. Some of those kind of the ChatGPT stuff. So anyway, I will let you go, everybody. Thank you, Kelvin. Thank you so much for your time and your expertise. I appreciate you very much. And everybody, thanks for showing up and for checking us out today. Thank you so much.
likewise. Thank you,
Bye.
Susan. Bye-bye.